Joe from Prolific Audio. I'm here to walk you through our installation of our double DIN kits, either the 3700, 4000, 6000, or 9000. First thing we need to do in JeepJL is take off the knee bolster, which is down here. It's going to have 6 clips on the back of it. Just work on them one at a time, and it comes off down to the bottom. Okay, next step is to remove this portion here. Do not pry on the dash itself, just pull against the piece itself you want to remove. So for the time being, we're going to remove this panel, just unplug it. Okay. Now we're going to remove this here. What we got to do is take out number 2 screws to the bottom. All right, and this piece comes off. Okay. Now we're going to have 4 screws to take out. Take out all 4 of those screws. Remove that. Push this in and rotate it up. Comes out. Now this is the rear view camera. Push in, pull out. Push in, pull out. As far as what we're going to need to do, we're going to run a microphone cable. So we're going to run it down under the steering column up to the top of the A-pillar, which is up in the top left-hand corner of the windshield. As far as the GPS antenna, you can put that up in the dash, up here on the side. There's a panel up here to stick to the top of the vent. USB, you can run wherever you like. There's also a media center here we can place if you want to buy the plugs from us to do so. All right, that's all for the disassembly. All right, so first thing we're going to do is open the box. All we need is the chassis here. First thing we're going to do is take out this screw here. Remove the top plate. Now we're going to have these 4 screws we want to take out. This is a 4000 I have here. The 6000 will be the same as here. The 9000 has an extra screw here you got to take out. Alright. Now we're going to remove these 2 screws. And then these 2 screws. This plate pops out. Set that to the side. Now we're going to remove these 4 screws, 2 on either side. Now we need to disconnect the antenna. Just put fingernails, pull straight up, comes off, and then this ribbon cable here. Flip the door up, pull the ribbon cable out. Now we're going to take the front face of the radio off. Okay, so now we're separate. We'll set that aside for a second. All right, with the chassis here, within the kit itself, you're going to get a piece of plastic, an extender protector, an extender, and a ribbon cable. So what we're going to end up doing, we got to put this on first. So I'm going to remove these rear screws, the ones closest to the plugs. Take it up. All right, we're going to install this now. So we're going to put it in the bottom like that. Slide it in. And then these screws lined up, we can put those back in now. For the 4000 and 6000, you're going to use the screw closest to there. For the 9000, use the screw furthest away from the camera here. Took out the bottom of the L bracket, this bracket here. You got to put them in these holes here, make sure that kit stays together. So slide that in there, Just tighten it up. Do not over tighten. It's just plastic. Just gotta get it snug. Snug and stop. Same on the other side. Get in there. All right, so that's attached now. We now have to remove the antenna from the back of the board of the radio itself. So when they ship the 4000, 6000, and 9000, they all bend this bracket up for some reason. We have to bend that flatter to about there so we can get to this screw here. So we can get to the screw. Let's take the screw out. All right, set that aside for one moment. You can see we have an adapter in the middle there. We're going to screw this into that. Try to do it so you can see, but all right, just don't over tighten it. It's just plastic. Now we can reattach this to where we took it off from. Snaps in there. Tuck the cord down out of the way. Okay, now we can do our ribbon cable. So pretty much we got to connect this to there, right? So we'll start by this one here. Flip up the retainer clips, both sides. Fully insert the connector. Lock it down. You want to make sure that this line stays straight. The same amount of blue you can see on both sides. And with the kit, same thing. Make sure it's fully seated. It's fully seated, lock it down. Once again, make sure that line's straight. So now we can put our cable clip on it, make sure it doesn't short out against anything. So as you can see on the back of the clip, there's a pocket and then there's a ramp on one side. Make sure you put the pocket in first. It'll snap over there like that. All right, now we're going to put the ribbon cable back in the unit itself. Once again, make sure that blue line is flat and straight. Now we're ready to put our heatsink cover back on. Screw back in. All right, so now we're back together. So when we're done, the plugs will be on the bottom of the screen. So we got to flip this 180 within the unit itself. So tuck it down in the chassis. There's plenty of room there now. We're going to slide this in here. So it should snap. You see these snaps here? It should snap where it's supposed to be. Same here, snaps on. So now we can put these 4 screws back in on the ends. All right, so now you're done. That's all there is to that. All right, now that we have our doubled-in unit assembled, now we have to assemble our fit kit. So on the JeepJL, kit's gonna come with 2 metal brackets and a front fascia board. So what we're gonna need to do is put the brackets on properly. R is for right, so that's right side as you're looking at the car. Left is for left. We're snapping it onto the snaps like that for temporary purposes only. So now we're gonna attach the radio to the dash kit itself. So we're gonna slide it in. And you're gonna see how holes, this hole lines up and this hole lines up. So we're gonna put screws in on both sides. Okay. Within the kit itself, your radio box, you're gonna have 4 screws like this. These will be the screws we'll be using. They'll be in an old clear bag, typically. Take your screwdriver. We're just gonna get them started at first. So now that we have them started, what we want to make sure is when we tighten them down, that this space here at the back of the units stays the same. So I'm going to put a little pressure on it while I tighten it so it doesn't move around on me, and snug up the screws. Now I'm going to keep an eye on that space there. I want to make sure I have the same space on the other side. So see how the space is the same. So we're going to snug up the kit. Make sure we're not crooked. Okay, so we got a little tight on this side, so I'll loosen the screw and straighten it out. Okay, so now we're the same, both sides. All right, so we're gonna set that aside for the moment. All right, with your kit, you're gonna put your wiring harness as well. These are the wiring harnesses. So we're gonna make this cleaner than we are. This will be in the box that this module's in. These two harnesses will be. This will be separately, and this should already be plugged into here. And then your antenna adapter you can plug in as well as soon as you get out of the box. So now we're gonna plug in our Maestro module. We're gonna go ahead and plug in these harnesses here as well. This is a 4-pin connector, goes here. 3-pin connector goes here. Okay. If you order the backup camera interface, you're gonna have a harness interfaced in right here. This is for your backup camera interface on the JL. So that's what that is for. So now we need to make this a little nicer than it is. Okay, so pretty much we wanna have this at its extremity as far as it can go. And we're gonna tape these wires to that all the way down to this end here. We're gonna leave this one free, okay? And we're gonna leave the antenna free as well. So I'm gonna take some tape, any tape you have is fine. Tape here. I'm gonna stretch this Y out, tape here. So now we're separated there. I'm going to go ahead and plug this in now. There's a 4-pin connector on the bottom. Go ahead and plug it in there. Okay. With the box that this comes in, you're going to have a composite video cable. Let's go ahead and route that too. So we're going to plug it in the composite location. These cables. All right, so now we're prepped here. Now we're gonna go back to the car. All right, now we need to take the glove box out. There's a little bar at the top, push up. Glove box will come down and come out. So now you're gonna notice a cam block down here in the corner. Within the kit itself, you're gonna have a harness that looks like this. We need to unplug one of these cam blocks. So we're gonna pick one. Okay, once you have one out, you can plug in your harness there. And plug the other end back into the cam block itself until it snaps. Okay, now we're gonna run the cam block up to the top. All right, so bring that wire to the top. All right, so now we're ready to do the install itself. We got our wires here, our microphone wire we ran up to the corner of the windshield, our USB-C for the back of the radio, and this is your GPS antenna that we normally recommend putting on top of this vent or over here. It's got to be above metal, but it can be under the dash and still work properly. All right, now we're ready to install the harness itself. So what we're going to do is plug our backup camera in first to the module, and we're going to stick this on the back wall. So we're going to plug it in here until it clicks. We're going to remove the double side tape, and we're going to stick it to the back wall as high up as we can and to the left. All right, so now it's stuck. All right, now we're going to plug in our Maestro module with this plug here. All right, now back on the back of the harness here, in this bottom corner, you can see how there's 8 wires populated in this bottom corner here. That means we are not amplified, which means the green goes to the green and the white goes to white. If there were only 4 wires populated here instead of all 8, we would need to switch these 2 plugs around. So you would undo it here. Undo here. So the white would go in the green if it was amplified, and the green would go in the white. But since we have all 8 wires there, we are unamplified. So we need to switch it back. So white to white, green to green. All right, so now we have this plug here on our harness. We're gonna go ahead and plug our CAN wire into it now so we don't forget. This we're gonna put up here in this corner. Just like that. And our actual Maestro, we're gonna just put right in front of the backup camera interface over here on this side. Now we have our backup camera, our antenna. Antenna we're just gonna plug in here. And that's all the connections there. So now we're ready to start plugging our radio in. So our radio is still assembled here. We need to take the front piece off the metal brackets. So unsnap it again. Okay, put that aside for now. Now we're ready to plug up our radio. So you can see all the connections on the bottom of the radio itself. Let's go ahead and do the backup camera one first. So we get our camera in, which is this one. We're gonna plug it in. I always recommend taping RCA connections so they don't fall apart. All right. So now on the bottom of the radio are all our connection points. So we're going to start plugging things in. Plug in our radio harness. We're going to plug in our Maestro 3.5 millimeter cord, which is the black one. We're going to plug in our antenna, our 4-pin Maestro, which will go here. We can plug in our USB-C, which goes there. Our GPS antenna. They may be in different locations depending on what radio you have, a 35 or 3700, a 4000, 6000, or 9000, but they're all on the same end and on the back. So that's the microphone, goes the mic. And now we can put our backup camera in. So now we're going to do a quick check to see if there's any ports open. There is this one here, which we do not use on any of our kits, so we don't have to worry about that, but everything else is plugged in. So now we're ready to put the radio in the dash itself. All right, so now we have all the wires plugged in. We're ready to install the dash into the radio. So it's important to get, as long as everything's about 1.5 inches behind this bar here, you're in good shape. So I can see how this Maestro module still wants to keep floating forward. So let's just get in the back. It'll fit just fine. Everything else, just try to get behind the dash at the 1.5 inch mark. It's okay to squish most of this because they're just wires. Most important thing is not to pull anything out of the back of the radio itself. So as you can see, it goes in. Do not over tighten the screws, just get them snug. All right, now we're ready to test the radio, make sure everything works right. We're gonna plug our HVAC controls back in. Push start switch. I'm gonna turn it on. Sometimes you have to hold down the home button for 2.5 seconds for it to power up. Power up. You can set your time and date and everything, but go through here. Just wanna make sure we have sound. Radio stations, good. We're gonna check, make sure our backup camera works if we purchase that from us. It does. Turn it back off just so you can hear me talk. I'm gonna make sure the other functions are working. All right, so we know our candle wires are proper, so we're good to go there. So, all right, so we're gonna finish the install. We can leave that connected for the time being. We can now snap on our piece, put our 2 screws back in the bottom. All right, you put your knee bolts back on and you're all done. You're ready to go. Thanks for choosing Prolific Audio.